Antonio, felt like Aidan up until that last throw in the start of the fourth quarter was kind of in command, playing efficient football. How much does what happened, how it ended, kind of weigh into this whole thing?
I mean, everything. I mean, you can't take the good and not take the bad, right? So, wish it ended well for both gentlemen, right? And it just didn't. And we'll look at it, we'll evaluate. They both had opportunities. Aidan had 20 attempts and Minshew had 21. So, about as balanced and as we can get it, and we'll look at it. Obviously, you saw what our plan was tonight: throw the ball around, let these guys showcase what they can do, and we'll talk about it.
Well, that's not exactly a good endorsement from Antonio Pierce. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Gardner Minshew being named the starter by Antonio Pierce. Apparently, Gardner Minshew did just enough to not lose out the starting job to Aidan O'Connell. However, those comments from Antonio Pierce were less than encouraging, as Gardner Minshew needs to step up his game ASAP. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. How long will Gardner Minshew last as the Raiders starting quarterback? It's an interesting dilemma because I think it ranges from 2 weeks to 8 weeks. It really ranges as far as how well Gardner Minshew can play at the quarterback position. We've seen Gardner Minshew play quality football at a high level on several teams. We've also seen Gardner Minshew struggle to hold down a starting job for very long once he is named the starter. The Raiders, meanwhile, gave him a 2-year, $25 million contract, which is not exactly a lot of money for a starting caliber quarterback. However, for a quarterback like Gardner Minshew, that is a lot of money given to him, considering the fact that he was a 6th-round draft pick and that he was playing for peanuts on the Colts last season. Obviously, Gardner Minshew provides a lot of good things to an organization. You look at how the guy has moxie, you look at how the guy has guts, and he's also a tough quarterback. Gardner Minshew is an absolute dog. However, there are a lot of physical limitations surrounding Gardner Minshew. The guy doesn't really have a good arm whatsoever. The guy's IQ is sometimes questionable. He has a fumbling issue, and whenever his team has a chance to pick up a first down and he's running the football, he always manages to slide a yard short. The point is, Gardner Minshew's football IQ could be better. There are some areas where he excels, but then there's other areas where it's like, man, I wish it could be a lot better. But as far as Gardner Minshew being the starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders, the goal for him should be relatively simple. Find as many ways as possible to get Davante Adams the football. Davante Adams is the best weapon the Raiders currently have on their roster, and obviously Davante Adams is a receiver on the plus side of 30 years old. He's going to want to win now. If he's not going to win now, he's going to be a guy that's going to want to get his numbers. So if you're Gardner Minshew, your job is simple. Find a way to get Davante Adams the football, and also when you give Davante Adams the football, don't throw the ball to him in traffic where he is susceptible to hard hits. Davante Adams does not like catching hospital balls. That's why he complained about Jimmy Garoppolo last season on the Las Vegas Raiders. If you're Gardner Minshew, you got to throw it to Davante Adams in a nice, safe manner where he can stay healthy, and then he can make yards after catch happen. That's going to make a quarterback's life easier. Also, they got Jakobi Meyers. He's a solid wide receiver too. I consider him more of a wide receiver 3, but as a wide receiver 2, he's not necessarily the worst in the world. And then they got Trey Tucker, who's had a pretty nice preseason on special teams, and he's also had the ability to catch some deep passes. So watch out for a guy like Trey Tucker. And then, of course, at tight end, they've got Brock Bowers. He's been an absolute stud for the Raiders in training camp. He's been really good for them. And obviously, people who watch Georgia football know that Brock Bowers has been a good football player. So the Raiders offense, they're pretty good on paper. They've got weapons. Their offensive line is above average. They can run the football at a high level. Yes, they lost Josh Jacobs in the offseason, but they have Zamir White at running back. I'm really high on Zamir White. I think that he is going to be one of the more underrated running backs in the National Football League this upcoming season. We saw Zamir White be a workhorse at Georgia. So yeah, I feel really confident about the weapons the Raiders have. And then of course you look at their defense, they're going to be elite this year. They were elite last year. Maxx Crosby is one of the best defensive players in all of football. Obviously he's not the best defensive player in football, but if somebody told me he was top 2 or top 3, I would certainly believe that. I currently believe Micah Parsons is the best defender in the NFL right now, but that's another discussion for another day. The point is Maxx Crosby is really good, and he's got another pass rusher joining alongside with him. That guy's guy's name is Christian Wilkins. He's an absolute stud. I can't believe the Miami Dolphins let him walk in free agency. The guy is going to be a game changer as a defensive tackle. So I expect the Las Vegas Raiders defensive line to be excellent. Their linebackers are underrated. Their secondary is solid for the most part. They've got an ability to make big plays on defense. I expect the Raiders to be playing in a lot of low-scoring games. We all know Antonio Pierce is a defensive-minded head coach. I actually like Antonio Pierce a lot. My issue with Antonio Pierce is that he seems really limited in his knowledge of offense. That's why he talked the way that he did about quarterbacks after their preseason game in week 2 against the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, you don't say that kind of stuff to the quarterback room. You should try to keep that stuff private, because when you express your public opinions on your own confidence at the quarterback room and it's not exactly a ringing endorsement, it's going to make the rest of the quarterback room question you and make you say, does this guy really actually believe in me, or is he just playing me because I'm the best out of a bad bunch? And even if it's true, Antonio Pierce should have kept that to himself or kept that in the locker room. He should not have said that out loud. That's the only mistake Antonio Pierce made in that press conference. But other than that, I'm good with what Antonio Pierce had to say. I believe the Raiders are going to be looking for a new quarterback in 2025 anyways. I don't think either quarterback is the long-term answer for the Raiders. I think Aidan O'Connell is a career backup. He didn't exactly play well this past preseason. 2 weeks ago, I said Aidan O'Connell had to ball out in the preseason in order for Gardner Minshew to lose the starting job. Aidan O'Connell did not do that. He threw a bad-looking pick 6 against the Cowboys. Yes, he did throw a touchdown, but if you're a defensive-minded head coach and if you have a good defense, what are you thinking in your mind at the quarterback position? You're thinking, okay, does the quarterback limit mistakes? Does he do things that make me say, man, I have to pull this guy out because he's going to cost me a game where my defense is balling out and he's just turning over the football? And Aidan O'Connell turned over the football at the worst possible time. That pick 6 was really not good whatsoever. I believe that pick 6 is one of the main reasons why Aidan O'Connell lost that starting job. Even though Gardner Minshew tried to do everything he could to lose the starting job, he still managed to find a way to win the starting job. So kudos to Gardner Minshew for being able to win the starting job, although it really was your job to lose. And as for Davante Adams, yeah, man, I don't really know what to say to him other than just keep sticking it out through these tough times, and maybe don't try to run away from the Green Bay Packers when they try to give you a chance to stay in Green Bay. Because remember, Davante Adams requested a trade out of the Packers, even though the Packers were a good organization. The reason why he did that was so he could go ahead and play with his friend and Derek Carr, only for the Raiders to then cut Derek Carr 1 season into the Davante Adams experiment. Now Davante Adams is stuck with quarterbacks that do not deserve Davante Adams as his wide receiver 1. Gardner Minshew is a below average starting quarterback at best. Granted, he played well in Indy last year, but that's because he was the backup quarterback and Shane Steichen was his offensive coordinator. Now he's got Luke Getsy calling the plays for the Las Vegas Raiders. Luke Getsy is a major downgrade from somebody like Shane Steichen. Obviously, Luke Getsy is not a great play caller. I don't think he's necessarily the worst offensive coordinator out there, but I don't exactly think he is that good of a coordinator, and therefore Gardner Minshew is not going to be playing that good this upcoming season. As far as how long Gardner Minshew lasts, I see him lasting somewhere between 2 to 8 weeks in the starting lineup. I believe Gardner Minshew will start out at least 0-2 as a starting quarterback, and if he loses to the Panthers in week 3, you can be assured that he will end up getting benched. At most, I see Gardner Minshew lasting 8 weeks in the starting lineup. Either way though, I expect to see Aidan O'Connell in the starting lineup by October, whether it's due to injury or whether it's because of performance. Gardner Minshew is not a good starter. He's an excellent backup. He is what he is at this point in stage of his career, and I expect Aidan O'Connell to come in and play some quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. I expect this season to be a hot potato at the quarterback position for the Las Vegas Raiders. Truth be told, neither guy is the answer long term. I expect the Raiders to look for a new quarterback in 2025, or they will end up signing a new quarterback in free agency. Maybe they have a chance to add a guy like Dak Prescott on their roster. If Dak Prescott got signed by the Raiders, that would be a solid move by the organization, but we'll see what happens though. I believe Gardner Minshew will last somewhere between 2 to 8 weeks in the starting lineup, so that is why Gardner Minshew will not last that long as the Raiders starting quarterback. Ultimately though, my timeline for Gardner Minshew being the starting quarterback for the Raiders will range anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I'm gonna shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DustinNashTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinNashTran and at Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinNashTran. Again, go ahead and do those things. that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.